Ready. And oh shit. You know what's gonna happen here?
Gonna have to get a juicer.
A juicer?
Yeah, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier and a lot less painful to eat these vegetables.
Oh fuck yeah! Well, you can cook them. Cook them a little bit. That helps. Cook them and slather.
Easier and a lot less painful to eat these vegetables.
So you can't.
Oh fuck yeah!
Oh shit! Here we go.
Okay.
Okay. So you can't eat any meat or like butter and stuff on your vegetables.
I'm not supposed to for at least like 2-3 days.
So you like go totally no protein.
No protein.
And then all carbs. Well, no, all what?
All protein, essentially. All protein, very little carb.
Yeah, but that's after. But for the first 2 days, it's the opposite, right?
Yeah, because essentially you're detoxing your body.
So you try to pull a. Oh no, his doors are standard size, but it's a big door price, Scott. I'm sorry. I don't know how the fuck you're gonna get it home. Maybe you can put it in the garage. I don't know. Anyway, so the thing with Kafai last night was interesting, and kind of got into worldviews, but you know, I think what we came down to is it's really odd. A lot of people start with mind first when they start talking about philosophy or worldviews.
Yeah.
And what the fuck is that? I mean, I don't do that. I start with what's around me, physical universe first. I don't even think about myself right away, right?
I think that's kind of like an altered state of mind, though. I mean, you don't always, like, growing up, like, we always learn, like, to try and figure out what reality is, like, and how to correct, like, our mental image of it.
Why?
Well, because our mind, like, is the lens we perceive the world through. Like, we're not machines, like, having binary inputs.
Where'd you get this idea that you have a mind?
I have a brain, don't I?
Well, where'd you get the idea you had a brain? When did you learn that you had a brain?
A few years. A few years of life.
3?
A few.
Well, I don't know. When did I learn I had a brain? 6? 7?
Maybe 7?
Yeah, I grew up in a like iron mine on a farm owned by an iron miner and a crazy Irish woman, and they never talked about brains ever. I'm sure if I found a brain, it had to have been. I had the newspaper. That was my only source of reading in our house. And my grandpa's Bible, which was written in Serbian. And that was it. I don't think we had anything else to read. So I read the Sunday news, the Sunday paper when I first started reading. And I don't think I had any means to encounter brain. The first thing I found in science, I was in 2nd grade, and my sister was in, I don't know, like 7th grade. And I found her science book. And I memorized the planets. That was the only input I had. So where the fuck did this brain thing come from? I mean, who told you about a brain? And why did you think your mind was in your brain?
Well, I think the mind is a product of the brain.
Awareness of the mind begins before the awareness of the brain. Yeah, but how are you aware of your mind? I suppose when you have a dream or when you imagine something.
I don't think so. I don't think like awareness of the mind is a real thing. I mean, I think we're aware of it, like in terms of kind of viewing a tape.
Okay.
Like we don't view it like as it is. We view it as it was, like 100 milliseconds ago or something like that.
Are you working on your recycling again?
No, not this time.
Sounds like potato chips. I don't know. Anyway, are you eating bags of dried vegetables?
I'm eating a carrot currently.
Fuck. Like raw?
Yep.
Don't ever do that. Don't do that.
It's been washed. It's been washed.
Yeah, but no, you got to cook that thing and put some butter on it. I mean, Jesus Christ, just fucking eat it naked. Yeah, what?
It doesn't have much taste, does it?
Oh wow, I'd never eat one of those. Well, I guess I like the new ones in the garden when you pull them up when they're just forming. Those are pretty fucking juicy. There's little toddler carrots.
Yeah, little baby carrots.
Yeah, baby carrots. I like babies. As an atheist, eating babies, very important.
Immutable bunny. Well, I'll laugh when I have better eyesight than you. Your eyes.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, but this starting with awareness of the mind. I think the first time I knew I had a mind is when I figured out I could lie to my mom.
Huh.
You know, when I figured out, there's shit in here that my mom can't see, and I can like get away with it, and I can sit here and think anything I want. I don't think I sat around and thought about axe murdering my family until much later.
I don't think that those thoughts came till like adolescence.
Teenage years, right? Yeah, that was like a constant image. It's just like I gotta fucking get rid of these bastards.
Between that and tits.
Yeah, those things. Well, those popped up around 6th grade for me. One girl grew them. She's my best friend. That poor girl. She was the first one, and the guy's just like, "Whoops, you have our full attention." It was pretty bad. Also, speed of sound, spooky bed hair needs a wrench. Spooky bed world, spooky. Where are you?
Where's Spooky?
I'm trying to find Spooky in the regular chat. I got to go to a different window and give Spooky a wrench. Oh, I don't know. Spooky scares the shit out of me, though. You know what? He keeps popping up everywhere, and he scares me every time I see him. Okay, Spooky, you got wrench. You got wrench. Who else wants wrench?
But yeah, so do you think like the idea of like mind is like totally illusory, or?
I don't like the word illusory because you definitely, there's something going on that you can call mind, but it's totally made up. You get an idea of your mind. You learn about your mind. You can never experience your mind. You can't just turn around and look at your mind any more than you can turn around and look at your eyeballs while you're looking at something. So right now, look at your eyeball looking at the carrot. You can't do it, right? Hard. It's very hard to do.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do that. Nor can you look at your mind. The only thing you can do is go forward in time with more mind stuff. And so we get in the habit of being able to, because our minds work in a swath of time where we always remember the thing that just happened just before. We think that's looking at our mind. We remember something from a few seconds before, and we think we're looking at our mind doing something now. And that is a problem.
Well,
that's where it goes wrong.
So what do you make of like neurological, like I believe it's fMRI studies that study like various, so like you'll have a person watch like a short clip of something, but they measure like the brain activity, and algorithms are able to sort out like what the person is thinking before the person expresses that thought. So they're correlating like various neural firings in the brain, like with certain like linguistic patterns and behavioral patterns.
Well, yeah, you can.
That the mind exhibits.
You can see all that's going on in the brain, and let me try to sketch that out. So you got a swath of time, right?
Yeah.
Or we have a timeline, okay? And let's talk about physical time, like what a physicist thinks of as time. So we have T0 right here, right?
Right.
So that's T0. So the physicist tries to think of an infinitesimally small piece of time right here.
Right.
Okay. You can't do that in your mind because your mind exists as a swath of time like this. It's sort of a big section of time. So this is your old current mind going, and it moves forward in time, basically. So
well, it thinks about time as like being a stairwell, doesn't it? It thinks about it thinks about time in terms of like discrete steps.
Why are you talking about thinks about time? I'm talking about what your mind is.
No, I'm talking about like if you were to describe like how the mind or like how our mind kind of perceives time, it'd be kind of like the way a stairwell is. So
yeah, but we're not. Say you're not perceiving time right now. You're not thinking about time at all. You don't have any concepts at all. You're just walking around the room eating a carrot.
Mm-hmm.
Bad idea. But so you've got this. So you got a lot of shit going on, and there's going to be like inside this swath. I mean, if we were to look at, we're going to map this thing, with an MRI. We're going to start to see, your carrot neurons are going to turn on right here.
Right.
And they're going to go down, and they're going to turn on again when you take a bite and think of the carrot, whatever. But you have this, so your mind is going to be, and not only that, but you've got all of the sensory input coming in at the same time, which is like, you're feeling it all.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it's arriving in different areas of your mind, 200 milliseconds late, some 300 milliseconds, 400 milliseconds. It's a big fucking jumble of shit going on in this swath of time that you can't orthogonally map to physical time. This physical time here,
right? This
is not an orthogonal map. Like something, like if you drop something on your foot, how the hell is that here? Okay. You're not going to feel it until you can see it over here, even though your mind is going to immediately spike up when you drop something on your foot. So that pain in your foot is happening, but you're not going to feel that pain in your mind. It's not going to enter into the part where you say, oh, something's dropped on my foot, until you can see it at the same time. So there's all these fucked up things going on, which are not orthogonal. Orthogonal would be, straight up. Like if something happened, it would be in my mind here. Well, some things happen here, and they don't end up in your mind until over here. Okay, so we got quite a mess, and this whole swath here is what is currently going on in your mind. But as you move forward, it's constantly different. So that becomes a problem with trying to understand what is my mind and trying to compare it to what is going on neurologically.
Well, but in the same way, like physics is really simple. Well, really similar to that, though, isn't it? I mean, consider like the process of a rock falling like from a high area, right? So, I mean, the only reason we know like that rock is falling physically, in a physical description of that event, is because there's a change like in some property that rock is exhibiting, namely its location in space.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, the process of the rock falling isn't defined by, like where the rock is. It's more so, it's like describing like a gradual like gradation of how that rock position is changing as a function of time. So, I mean, when we're saying like a rock is falling, of course we don't instantly see that. We observe that like moments before it occurs, because there has to be like some level of information, or it has to take like some small interval of time for information to be transferred between two objects. It's not instantaneous.
Right. But okay. It's my swath of time again. That is your mind. So now suppose right here at this physical time, I decide I want to introspect my mind. Okay. Mm-hmm. So there are traces of, memories of things that happened that are still going to be out here. But when I'm introspecting my mind out here, okay, this is introspection. I'm trying to look at my mind in the now. I'm not looking at my mind in the now. I'm looking at my mind back there, and I'm just making more mind. So I'm going forward with more mind. So no matter how many, is there an analogy or a metaphor? No matter how hard I try, I'm just moving forward in time. I'm never actually able to look at what's happening in my mind right now.
Right.
So that is a problem with introspection. It can't be done. That's why the mind doesn't exist. In that respect, Somebody could say it's an illusion, but illusion is a bad word. Illusion means that there's some true way you could have seen it. Okay, there's no way to see your mind, so there is no true way to see it, so it can't possibly be an illusion. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but I think it does. So, like, if I look at a black thing in a tree and I say, oh my God, it's a crow, and then it starts whipping around the tree and I realize, oh my God, no, it's a black squirrel.
Yeah.
Okay, that was an illusion. The thing was an illusion, right? So if I look at my mind and I can't look at my mind and I say my mind was an illusion, what was the right way to look at my mind? Because there is no way to look at your mind. There is no black squirrel. There is no true way to look at it because you can't look at your mind. You can only do more mind. And that is the problem. The idea. Go ahead.
Well, let me ask a question to that, right? So, like, the example of you misapprehend like some black object, you know, spiraling down or, you know, apparently moving in a tree. When you saw that initially and you assumed, oh, that's a crow, before the moment, like you saw it more clearly and recognized, oh, that's a squirrel. So before that happens, is it true that that thing is a crow? Like that's moving down the tree? Like before you had more information to
no, it's not
like
true.
assess the situation?
Not true that it's a crow. It's true that you thought, oh, crow, that was something that happened in you that didn't happen out there in the tree. The squirrel was a squirrel the whole time. Why would you think? Why would you believe that your mind had some influence over what's going on in the world around you?
I mean, you make conclusions based upon what you can observe, and what you could observe was a crow, not a squirrel.
Yeah, but who gives a fuck about you? Why is it always about you? Me.
Well, what could be perceived? Let's put it that way.
What could be perceived?
Well, at that time, like what the observer could see seemed to correspond with the shape and form of a crow, not that of a squirrel.
Okay, but what does the observer have to do with any of it?
Well, once the observer's been, you know, exposed to more information, they update their belief about it.
Right.
And they change it from, oh no, that's not a squirrel, that's actually a squirrel.
Okay. So here's what do we got here? Oh no, actually that's a squirrel. That is a squirrel. So it's a squirrel all the way. It squirrels all the way down. I mean, it's okay. It's still a squirrel. Okay, there's a squirrel in a tree. It's a black squirrel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a crow right here on this part of the timeline. And over here, I realize, oh no, it's a squirrel. So why are you talking about what's going on in your mind when I'm talking about what's going on in physical reality?
Well, I'm talking about like the information that's being presented, right?
Okay.
What can logically be deduced like from that set of information? And would that misapprehension be logical, right? Even if it's a false belief, would it have been like a logical misapprehension? Would that false belief be formed for the right reasons?
Over here, when you're wrong. Okay. Yeah. Well, if it had been like something bigger, like a bear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it turns out to be a really big black garbage can instead.
Mm-hmm.
But here I thought it was a bear. I guess it would be a good idea to run right here, right?
Right.
So I'm going to run away. But then as I'm running, turn around and look at it, and it's like, oh, it's a barrel. So now I don't have to run. Now I can stop. But I don't understand what this like. The problem I have is that every time you try talking about something physical with people like Cafe, they'll start talking about what's in your mind, and you just did it to me too, I think.
Well, I'm confused, like what word you would replace mind for?
What?
Like what term or what word or what you would replace mind for? Like how should we be referring to it?
Okay, so I'm a squirrel, and there's things in the world around me, and one of those things around me is this dude looking at me, okay? And these are just things in the world. So the squirrel has a mind. So we have squirrel mind, okay? And we have human mind over here, okay?
Mhm.
And all I'm interested in as a human, I'm not interested in my own mind. Why would I be interested in my mind? I'm interested in the world. So what would I replace? Okay, ask that question again.
What would you replace like as you're posing like the terminology of like your mind, but so
Yeah.
what would you use like as a placeholder, as a stand-in for that term?
This current thing flowing along. That's all I care about.
Okay, but to me that looks like random noise,
Uh,
right? I mean, like it might mean something to you. It might mean something to like the way that your internal biological circuitry is interpreting that.
yeah,
But to me, it appears as if though it's like random, like noise gobbledygook.
it is.
It doesn't have any. It doesn't seem to have like any meaningful value, or at least like readily apparent meaningful value.
That might explain why you're eating the carrot. Okay. Yeah, it's random noise. But you know, if you're concerned about what's going on in your mind, yes, okay. From a Zen Buddhist perspective, they would call that random noise. They would say, yes, immutable, yes, fucking random noise. Stop it. Stop worrying about it. I mean, why are you? What did me, mine? You know, my mind, squirrel's mind. I mean, fuck it all. All there is the universe happening, you know, and we're in it. So I think differently than other people about this stuff. And I've trained myself for 50 some years to think differently. That for me,
I don't disagree with that. I mean, I think, like we're part of the universe and okay, that's cool, but we're also observers. Like we're observing like some local like slice of the universe in a way.
yeah, but we can't observe what we're inside of any more than you can look at your own eyeball.
Well, there's certain things obviously you can't observe. Like you can't observe your own mental processes directly.
Okay,
but you can observe like planetary motion and stuff like that.
But as soon as you talk about an observer, you know, something looking at some object out here in the world, okay, and all of a sudden you've created a dualism. So you want to talk about a dualistic model? That's fine. We can do that. We can talk about how the information from the universe gets into this little ball of organism over here and creates all this random fucking noise inside of it. You know, we can talk about that. But I mean, or you can try to do all this shit from inside this thing, which is kind of what people do. They try to do it from within mind first. Well, I'd say fuck mind. There is no such thing. Not an illusion. It's not even about anything. There's no right way to see it. All there is you in the universe, right? So why think about your mind? If I want to think about my mind, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to remember something. And that is a function of this animal here remembering something. So it hashes out very differently. And philosophers will always fucking start with their mind. Why? You don't even know what that is. Okay. I'm not paying attention to chat, guys. I'm a bad person. I saw 10 things you didn't know about Ernest Scared Stupid. What the fuck? Oh my God, I gotta watch that. Ernest was quite a dude. Okay, so let's see what you want to keep up with what chat says. Observer acts on what is his her mind constructs when the mind influences the observer. Yeah, that's the thing. You can never separate it. So why? You see, the Buddhists would say, stop fucking being concerned with me and your mind. And that's what Cafe has read about ego, but I think he's misinterpreting it. What he's trying to do is drag the entire universe inside of his mind with him, right? Like, oh, my mind is the universe. The universe is the mind. And that's where philosophers go badly wrong, and idealists, because idealists really suck ass. Are you an idealist?
I don't know. I don't.
Idealists eat fucking carrots.
I guess I am.
Well, they've been known to eat carrots. Not eating carrots does not.
I mean, I guess my contention is that if I'm something like that's a part of the universe, how would I tell myself as something being like unique within it, right? Like, given that I'm part of a collection of things that are in the universe, how would I distinguish myself as something different from say, a rock or, a tree or anything else for that matter?
Okay.
Like, under that perception.
Well, how would you tell the difference between two rocks?
I measure various properties of them and compare them.
You're one rock and we have another rock, right? Yeah, so
And
do
say,
that with yourself.
Those things are different.
So if you want to think about what you are, then necessarily you're talking about biology and and other things. So if you're just another, I mean, okay, the God's eye view, you have to step out of your skin and look at the entire universe as what it is. And one of those things is going to be, there's you as an organism, and there's a rock here, and there's a squirrel here, and the obviously you and the squirrel have more in common than the squirrel and the rock, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we're biological organisms, and so I look at things from a purely physicalist point of view. That I don't start thinking about mind, because I really don't believe there is such a thing. Let's see, isn't the idea that your mind is the universe the same as thinking that the lines are? Yeah, exactly. Because because a map is maps are interesting. They too are objects in the world, and humans drew them, and we look at them, and they seem to relate to the world. So,
and galaxies are kind of something like that's really fascinated me as well, because like you can look into the heart of the galaxy, but you're not seeing the galaxy like as it is. You're seeing the galaxy like as it existed. Like several 100,000, million years ago in the past.
Yeah. It's interesting that information doesn't get all fucked up in that several 100,000 million years, whatever.
It could be, right? I mean, it could be that a black hole has formed, since that time. And that, now, like when light tries to travel away from that object, it gets bent. But that information wouldn't have reached us yet.
Yeah.
It would take another, several 100,000, or million years for that information to travel far enough to reach us.
Yeah, so all that you're concerned with is this locality. So you got this locality. But look what the fuck we're doing right now. You're way down there in zombie land. You didn't know that we changed the name of Florida to Zombie Land?
You guys call it Zombie Land now. Okay.
Yeah, it's Zombie Land. Anyway, so you're down there in Zombie Land, and I'm up here in Minnesota. And so you're poking into my locality from way the fuck over there. So I'm experiencing, what the hell am I experiencing? Noise coming out of my speaker, which was, electrons, the internet. It probably went to fucking Germany to an IP over there and came over here, and who knows where it went.
Yeah.
So you're the same to me as a star. You're inaccessible to me as a star. You're coming to me in yet I have all these ideas about you.
Right.
Like you're a carrot-eating zombie. That's a good description for Florida.
Carrot-eating zombies.
That's a good reason not to count their votes.
Oh, my God.
I don't know. Anyway, oh, God. Did I just let on it? I just let the cat out of the bag about the Democrats' conspiracy to not count Florida's votes.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, yes. Okay. Why did I go there? I'm coming back. I'm back. Okay, so we have this locality, and then you have stars, which are sending light into my locality. But everything comes into my locality. Like 50 feet around me is pretty much my locality right now. I can see a tree 50 feet to my right. It's over there, but it's taking time to get here. But and I believe I'm a biological organism. But so anyway, I define that as my mind, whatever's coming into my locality. You're poking my locality, the tree's poking my locality with its light rays, shit like that. So that's where I start. I start looking at my locality, and I look around and I see physical things, in my locality. And I try to figure out what they are, but I use physics to do it. I don't use mind stuff. So anyway, we beat that to death, didn't we?
I guess so.
But you're getting an idea how fucked up I think, right? How fucked up my thinking is.
Definitely.
Yeah. Brain-eating amoebas. Is that what they are? Is that what's going on in Florida? I'm picking on you. So I'm gonna work on basic fucking chemistry today because I need to. Thing is, when I learn something, sometimes I will go way too fast and miss some basics. And orbital theory is definitely a basic I have missed.
Oh, so, that's a really important.
Yeah, but it wasn't. They didn't used to teach it that way. They would teach you about the fucking the hybrid orbitals, and they'd show you acetylene, and they would show you basically that was it. Benzene, they'd show you that orbital or the resonance, and then they would rush ahead and start talking about reactions. So it wasn't as orbitally based. And apparently, it's gotten more serious. So anyway, so I need to get more serious. But shit, I got to stop doing YouTube videos here for a day or two. I've got to hang out with David Neff tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I got to take some time and get back to some basics here because I've got this. I'm working on that model for Demeter and trying to get the first part of that model together. We should talk offline about that because I was going to do it with like an array, and I was going to actually represent where the nucleotides were physically. But then I was talking to Demeter, and it's like, actually I could just create random strings, a set of random strings, and then we could figure out how to use that other software to display them. So, yeah. So I decided against and that would have been harder to do this mapping model because I would have looked like, okay, you've got cytosine, at location, whatever. And what is it next to? Okay, can combine with that. But once it combines with it, now you have a dinucleotide, and the one that it combined with is now missing from that space. So you have to look. So then you would have like an algorithm to go in increasing circles, looking for things to combine with, and eventually it would say, "Oh, fuck it, I give up. There's nothing."
Yeah.
So I mean, that's one way you could do it, and you could represent how an actual molecules would react, and you can take a look based on some random. I think that would be interesting to see, don't you? You would start with a random array of nucleotides, and then you would build these little seed chemicals with a dinucleotide and a trinucleotide, and go on up. And then also, Demeter tells me that as we approach 10, when you go from 2 to 3, you divide by 10, it becomes 10 times less likely that you're going to attach another nucleotide.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of algorithms we could do in Python. So how you doing on Python?
Still working on it. Still hammering away.
So we'll trade Python skills for orbital skills, right?
Oh, there we go.
Fair trade, yeah. Anyway, okay, we can end this. Unless you want to make... Cafe, he talks really fast. I think he needs to drink more. I don't know. Some people just need to be drunk. I mean, really, a little bit all the time. But he's a brilliant person, actually. I've always been impressed with his knowledge, but you'll notice that when I asked him direct questions, do you believe in evolution? We go zing off on a spin. And then I asked him, okay, what is God? And zing, we go off on a spin. He never quite answers things. And I don't believe he does this. He answers these things for himself either. So he just rolls. I mean, he's rolling. His mind is just rolling. Don't you think he's kind of brilliant?
He is. I mean, I don't think he identifies as Christian, does he?
No, and that's the thing. But he will fight with Christians against atheists, which is interesting. He will align himself.
Why that is?
Yeah, he aligns himself with anybody. He hates atheism. Well, he hates Matt Dillahunty. That's his.
Why? Because he thinks Matt has a.
Well, because Matt has really tossed him off the show a couple times. So, but anyway, but he's a seeker, and I told him, you kind of remind me of me when I first had that spiritual experience, and then I went and started doing every fucking drug under the sun trying to get it back.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, brain eating. Oh my God, check this out. This would explain everything.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, we're going to end this shit.
Yeah, when you described the whole heroic dose thing, I was like, with the amount of drugs you're taking, like, it's no wonder you're experiencing like some wild shit.
Yeah,
like that makes perfect sense to me. I mean, especially how drug metabolism freaking works.
Well, he's already ADHD, right? So
there we go.
And he's adding to that mix something that makes you hyper, like fucking 50 million times ADHD.
Yeah.
I got a problem. Shit, that's a problem. Do you hear that shit?
Yep.
That's what happens every time my phone rings. I cannot figure out how to get my Mac to ignore phone calls. Anyway, so Daniel Gonzalez, good video, thanks. He's talking about this Evograd. Okay, Standing for Truth did a video on genetic recombination and Evograd, and I'm reaching out to anybody who's listening here. And he linked it to me in a previous video, and when I go there, the video has been taken down. Now, I had a conversation with Standing about recombination, and I think he had a video up and he took it down. Does anybody know what's going on or what we're talking about? Because Daniel Gonzalez and somebody else asked me to do this, to look at this video on recombination where Standing for Truth criticized Evograd, and I cannot find that video. So if anybody knows where that video is, let me know. But anyway, good morning, Nathan. You're fucking late, so we're leaving. We're going on live. Oh, you ready?
Goodbye, folks.
Goodbye, folks. This was interesting.
It was an interesting experience.
Goodbye. Ending broadcast. Ending.